Hello and welcome. It's Karen Day, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the United States, and I blog over at A Little Kinder. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, as well as on YouTube. Today I wanted to jump in and share this super cute card that I made and walk through the steps of how I make it with you. This is from the brand new Nothing's Better Than stamp set. And what I love about this stamp set is it's $1 million set. So anytime in the catalog you see that little symbol, to me it kind of looks like a house with a roof on both sides. That's the $1 million symbol, and that means that the person who helped have a voice in creating the stamp set over the life of their time with Stampin' Up has sold $1 million. So is that not super cool? And so this stamp set was designed by the fabulous designer. Her name is Connie, and she has a blog, I believe, as well as a YouTube channel. But here is her set. The fabulous Connie Stewart designed this. And this is her set in the catalog. I love it. It has kind of a 1950s retro vibe to it. I love the font and then what it's paired with. I love the angularness of the designs. It's just, it kind of has that retro feel. And when you go over to Connie's YouTube channel or her blog, you see that vibe. That's kind of who she is. So that was really exciting for me when I saw this. I was like, I wonder if that's Connie's stamp set. And of course it was. So this is what I decided to do with it. And I love it. I think it's fabulous. I love the Coastal Cabana with the Bermuda Bay and the fuzzy drink that just looks so inviting. I mean, who wouldn't want a hurricane after a long day's work? So we're going to take a look at how to make this stamp. How to make this card with these stamps. Ooh, it has been a long day. Alrighty. This is a photopolymer stamp set. That means it's the clear kind. So if you can see there, the word cocktails is on the stamp and it's clear. So I need to add some foam underneath. Now I have shared this technique before, but it's one of my favorites to use with word stamps. So we're going to take Coastal Cabana, and this is Coastal Cabana paper, and I'm going to ink up my stamp. And then the whole purpose is going to be to offset these words up and down this page. Now here's what's kind of fun. I'm going to try to do this where you can see the stamp pad and everything. I don't go right to the edge, and the reason is I want it to bleed off. I want the words to run off the edge of the page. So down here at the bottom you can see the words aren't full. Well, I find that's easier to do if I actually start a little bit higher. So my first one I put right smack dab in the middle, and then I'm going to ink again, and I'm going to come to the outside, and then I'm going to ink again, and hopefully the ink won't be in my way, and I'm going to come over here. Alright, so now I'm going to be working below and above where I originally stamped. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to stamp, and see it's already gone off. I'm going to stamp again. Now in this very corner you would catch just the tiniest little hook of this C. So there we go. And now I'm going to start working up my page. And really all I'm trying to do is create a new line of text that does not line up perfectly, meaning I don't want all my C's in a row, don't want all my S's in a row or all my K's in a row, and I'm just working back and forth all the way up this card. Now, as fun as it is to watch me do this, so that this video is not an hour long, I am going to close Coastal Cabana, and I am going to slide out this piece for one that's already done. So here's what I've done. Off camera, I did the whole piece just like I was showing you. I've added it to a Whisper White layer, and then I've added it to a Bermuda Bay layer. So the Bermuda Bay card is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. When I went to cut that, I cut it at 5.5. I cut it at 4 1/4 and scored it at 5.5. So that's how I get my top folding card. Now, I want to do that adorable little circle with the cocktail drink on it. And that's really a 2-step stamping. First thing we're going to do is take our circle and some Memento black ink. And the reason I chose to do Memento black is that on the lime wedge and on the umbrella, we're going to use blends. Now, the set does come with a solid stamp. So I could have stamped those, but I decided that the spaces are so tiny, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and grab my blends. They're right here beside my workspace, so that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to stamp this. This is a 2-inch circle that I use the 2-inch circle punch to stamp. All right, put the lid on it so I don't put my hand in it. I'll end up wearing this enough as it is. Now, if you've been looking at that image and you're thinking, how on earth did she get this in one stamped image to blend like that? It is so fun and it is so easy. And you're going to be thinking, oh my goodness, I need to do this on all of my solid stamps. So these are sponge daubers. They go on your finger. Ooh, get it in the camera. Let it focus. This is Melon Mambo. And this one's Mango Melody. Now, I put the labels on them. You don't have to. Some people, I think, like to rinse them out. I'm not a big fan of rinsing them out. I'd rather just throw them over in a case. But here's the fun part. All right, so here is my stamp. I'm going to take my Mango Melody and I'm going to stamp the top part, because that's where my drink is going to start. Okay, and I'm going to take Mango Melody off and slide it away. I'm right-handed. Now, here's where the magic happens. I'm going to take Melon Mambo and I'm going to go around the bottom edge. Look at that. All right, now let's stamp it. Try to slide these so I don't get my fingers in them. And then because this is clear, you can just look down through the block and the stamp, and there you have the beverage. Wasn't that easy? So you can use sponge daubers to ink up lined images. So the glass and the umbrella and the lemon or lime wedge there would be what we consider a line image. And this would be what we consider a solid image. So you really can use both with sponge daubers. I just chose to use the tuxedo black. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to grab, because I want mine to be a lime wedge, I'm going to grab Granny Apple Green, both the light and the dark. Okay. I'm going to use the bullet tip for this because these are tiny. On the outside, I'm just going to scribble a little color in. And then the inside pieces, I'm going to scribble in each of these wedges. If it leaves a little bit of white, I'm actually quite okay with that. I really have kind of started loving this scribble type coloring with the blends, where it leaves just a little bit of space. Alrighty, I am going to use light Bermuda Bay to do our umbrella. Alrighty, and there's our umbrella. Now, the last bit of detail that I did with this was I used light Seaside Spray, and I used the brush tip, and I gave myself a surface for this to be sitting on, and then I used this to give it just a little bit of a shadow. So thinking about if the light was sitting over here, what would be in shadow? What would have a little bit of shadow to it? And you just come along and add it. And it just gives it a little bit of depth and lifts it up off the page. All right, put that blend back up where he goes. All right, so now let's take inventory of where we are. We have our card ready. We have the drink ready. Here's the original. So now I need to make a flag, and that flag is just shy of 2 inches. And I wish I could tell you exactly how wide. Oh, I lied. It's 1.5 inches. Sorry about that. I cut these earlier. It's 1.5 inches wide, and I cut it 4¼ inches long. And here was the reason why. When I went to put it into the punch that I used, which is the banner punch. Sorry if you see my roots. It's down here at my feet. It's the banner punch. It's this one. And when you go to slide this in, let me open it. To get all the way down to the bottom, I mean, it took off a nice chunk. So to get this short, like I want it to be for my card, all I have to do is snip some of the end off. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to slide and cut. Now, I am guessing that that cut was about 1/4 of an inch. Maybe a little more, a little less. Almost right on 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so all that did was just make it where my flag doesn't go all the way over. And you'll notice that this flag and this flag are different lengths. That's okay. Nobody's going to get the same card. You know, I'm not sending 5 of these to the same friend. They'll get one and somebody else will get one and they'll be fine. I promise. Alrighty, so trying to use up my snail. I did get the new adhesive. Not quite 100% sold on it, but you know, that's when you get something new, you've got to really think about and decide what your thoughts are. Alrighty. So the next step is adding this because adulting is hard message, which I absolutely love. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I think it's great with this whole set. You know, it's coffee because adulting is so hard. Cookies because adulting is so hard. Chocolate because adulting is so hard. This is just a really fun set. It does come with dies, which I really, really like. So you have the die cuts that say coffee, cookies, cocktails, and chocolate. You can die cut out the images, the 4 different things, the coffee, the chocolate, the cookie, and the cocktail. And this says, love you more than, and here's what's great about that. If you pair that with one of the words, you could say, love you more than cocktails. Isn't that great? Or you could say, a day without chocolate is, just kidding, I have no idea. So it's really kind of a fun set and a lot of cute cards. All right, so back to our task here. We've reached the point in the program where we are adding, because adulting is so hard. Now, I did toss my Stampin' Pad back behind me. And I'm just going to roll on without it. Alrighty. Now, I did put that upside down, and there was a reason for that. There is more space, real estate, whatever word you want to use, up here than there is under the is hard. So I wanted to line that up. The part that has the most, I wanted to line it up against the edge. And here's why. We're fixing to cut these out. So I'm going to come right along the words because adulting and cut them off. That's why I put because adulting is right along the top edge. That way I don't have as much cutting to do on long spaces. Now, I will tell you that these little cutout rectangles of words do not always come out this pretty and this perfect. And it's okay, because they're meant to look cut out. Kind of like when you used to cut words out of magazines. Alrighty, so now let's start building this piece. So here you'll see we have the because is actually stuck to the white circle, the Whisper White Circle, but it's hanging off. Well, because I put the Whisper White Circle onto Stampin' Dimensionals, I need to put the end of adulting on a mini. And the mini is going to overhang. It's just, it is what it is. We don't have a mini enough. So here's what I like to do. I get it on there where it is overhanging one side, and you can see it underneath there. So one of the tricks that I like to use is called undercutting. So if I hold my scissors straight and I cut, it cuts straight up and down. If I rotate it slightly, it will undercut. So I'm going to hold this and I'm going to rotate my scissors so they're not straight, and I'm going to cut. And what that actually does is it cuts it backwards so that this piece of the dimensional that's against the paper is right on the edge, but the part that sticks out is actually cut in. It's really kind of neat. Back in the day where we were cutting red rubber stamps and we were building those onto wood blocks, undercutting was a bad thing. Uh-oh, that just flipped over. Ooh, I'm making a hot mess. Undercutting was a very bad thing. You just did not want to undercut because you might not get a clean image. Well, it's a good thing when it comes to Stampin' Dimensionals, because then you really won't see it. It'll be set back from the edge. Alrighty, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slide because right in there, and I'm going to get that straight, and then I'm going to get this straight. I'm using my grid paper, so I'm using the line that's the bottom of the cup, and then I'm using the end of the ing on this line to get them lined up. Flip it over. Now we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of our drink. One of the few times that I enjoy an adult cocktail is when we are on cruises, and we have found time and again that usually there is one bartender that figures out exactly my mix of either like a rum punch or I think it's called tequila sunrise. Anyway, you can tell I don't drink much because I really don't know the names of them. But we usually find one bartender who figures it out, and then for the rest of the trip, we are his best friends in the evening at cocktail hour, because he has figured out what I mean when I say, this is what I want to drink. Alrighty, so now we're going to just go ahead and adhere that. And because we put the little dimensional out here, this is not crashing down to the paper, it's staying up. So let's add is hard. Alrighty. And now we're going to add this to the front of our card. Oh, there it is. There we go. Now what's really fun is that every time that you use this technique of the sponge daubers to ink up your stamp, they're going to look a little bit different. And it's just, it's fun, and it's a different way to color than, I mean, I could have pulled out the Stampin' Blends and colored it in, but I wouldn't have had the ice cubes, and it just really is a fun way to color your card. So I'm so excited you joined me. I'm so excited that you got a chance to see this card. Again, this was the $1 Million set created by Connie Stewart. I think it is absolutely fabulous, and I can't wait to use it some more. It just got here, so I wanted to crank out a card with it super fast, just get some ink on it and play, and this is what I came up with. If you are on YouTube, if you will give me the thumbs up down below and like this video, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss anything that I post. You can check us out over at alittlekinder.blogspot.com is the blog. And then we're A Little Kinder on Facebook and Instagram. So thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time.